Hey YTPC, Magician Piper here. Hope this finds you doing fantastic. I'm going to show you guys a very different video this evening or this morning, whichever time zone you might be in at the moment. My last two videos you would have seen me using a very different tamper. I thought I'll share this with you if you want a nice relaxing art and craft moment while you have a pipe, to try and make yourself a tamper. These are items that I found at the $2 shop. Very straightforward, cheap stuff. And so let's begin. First, you need a hot glue gun and a couple of sticks. We also need these I found at the $2 shop. I don't know what they're used for. It's like a, I don't know, some art and craft thing. This piece here actually was one piece. It was a mallet, but what I did was I basically cut the barrel portion out of it. So we just cut that off with a saw, and the actual barrel, there's the original wood. I actually drilled a very small hole on the side. That's gonna basically have that piece of dowel glued straight into it, just like the one I had previously made right there. And on the other end of it, I drilled the dowel very thin. This was very close because I wanted to insert this piece into the dowel as well, because that's going to be basically the scraper. So I cut a bit of that off, and that gets glued into that as well. You can obviously use, well, I would recommend using a slightly wider dowel instead of the one that I did, because when you're trying to drill into that, it's a very thin piece of wood, and you got a very good chance of breaking the actual wood itself as you're drilling into it. So if you find yourself a bit of a thicker dowel, probably be a smart option. But this was just a bit of a trial and error project that I saw. Some people were doing this on YouTube based on the Harry Potter magic wands. So I thought, oh, this might be a pretty good way to do a nice make-do tamper. So what we're doing here is we've put a little bit of PVA glue. Now keep in mind this is a bit of a rush job because I wanted to get this video out of the way for you all tonight. But essentially we've got a bit of a PVA glue and a little bit of the hot glue. That's going to basically hold everything together. We jam that inside the barrel portion of it, and there's your tamper right there. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side in just a moment's time. It makes sense if you can. Yeah, what I'm doing here is basically just evening out the glue, making sure that it's covered on the whole surface. Doesn't really matter because this entire dowel unit in a moment is going to be covered in hot glue. So once you've done that, the next step is to get the other piece, and we basically do the same thing. Put a bit of PVA glue in the dowel itself, and we use the rest of the glue gun to stick the end piece in. I just had to relight my pipe. I'm actually having what is it called? A Scottish mixture. I forget who is it by, but it's a pretty good nice blend. Burns really well. So as you can see, you can notice here how you got very little room to drill into that dowel. It's very thin. I think there's around 4 mils wide in total. So I try to make a jig out of it so I can get a nice clean drill, but it's super fine. So you might, yeah, it's probably going to be better off to try and find just a little bit more of a wider dowel. But again, like I said, this is just a trial and error little project. So we do the same thing in there, bit of PVA glue, hot glue, shove the whole thing in, let it dry, and basically you're just going to repeat exactly what you did with the barrel portion just make sure that glue is nice and smooth, and it's you know, it's got quite a bit of adhesion onto it. So, and there you have it. So at this stage, obviously the unit, the two ends are a little bit wobbly until the glue kind of sets in place. But once it sets in place, it's pretty sturdy. You'd be surprised how sturdy this is, to the point that, you know, I use it to basically scoop up the bowl, the tobacco out of it, and it hasn't failed me yet. So what I do here in a moment is the pipe tool version, that end of it, I use a little bit of wire. Now this is optional, obviously you don't have to do it, but it just kind of creates a bit more sturdiness to the unit. I basically wrapped a bit of wire around the neck part of it just to kind of tighten the end. It went a little bit out of scene here, but you'll see what I'm doing in just a moment's time. Just the top end of it, I basically just tighten it up, wrap the entire wire tightly around the dowel just to kind of hold everything a bit more in place. And I will cover that entire section with more hot glue. So there we go, we're covering the entire unit, the wire section of glue. Now the next thing that happens after this is basically the fun part. You can go as crazy as you want with this. The crazier you go, the stranger patterns you get. So using the hot glue gun, just literally cover the entire dowel portion with glue. Now, you know, you can do twirly motions. You can start from the one end, the top, twist the dowel all the way, so you kind of get that twirly feel to it. You can create like bark effects, dripping sap effects. Use your imagination. You can do whatever you want. I've even seen what some of the things that I saw, the research was on when they were making the Harry Potter ones. I even saw people kind of when they're making the wands use beads, very tiny beads, and they basically, as the glue is still wet, they literally sprinkled the beads all over the glue, and then they paint the entire thing on later on, so you don't really see the beads, but it creates a bit more of a texture, a feel. You know, I've seen there's so many different things you can do with it. You can get like little, for Halloween time, for example, get a bit of small plastic spiders. You can stick spiders on it. You can do skulls, twine, you name it. So I just like to go crazy here. Just put as much as glue as you can, and you just gotta let that dry. So once that's dry, well, semi-dry, it looks good here. It's actually like almost like a glass look, but unfortunately it doesn't stay that color. It kind of goes into a cloudy color once it dries, but it doesn't matter because you're going to paint it anyway. So what I tend to do as well is once the entire thing is dry, you can use the tip of your hot glue gun, and without dispersing any glue, you can kind of almost melt back into the actual glue, the dry glue. So if you can see here, I've almost got like a twirly pattern going on, and that's basically accomplished just by getting the tip of the hot glue gun, putting it onto the already dried glue, and just twirling yourself down the rod, and you get that effect. So now comes the part you paint. Now obviously you can paint whatever color you want. It's up to you. But I found these colors, they're pretty cool. It's like a metallic-y, gold, blue, and black. The black, actually, it's not really black. It's almost like a gunmetal gray, and it's got glittery, shiny, different metallic-y look to it. So you're just literally going to jar it on. It doesn't have to be perfect. As you can see, it's not that much of a thicker coat. So yeah, you'll see what happens in a moment. The effect that you get is pretty awesome. Obviously you can paint it in brown if you want to. You can make it look like the Lord of the Rings Gandalf's walking stick. That's my next one. I'm actually going to try and see if I can duplicate a Gandalf style pipe tamper. I think that'd be pretty cool. So we just paint that and let that dry, and we come back for the next color. So there you have it. That's the first color dried up. Now you got to choose the second color. You don't have to really go for 3 colors if you don't want to, but again, it just adds a bit more different effect. So I'm going to go with the metallic blue, and we're going to do the same thing here. Put a very light coat of the blue. I actually go a little bit overboard in a moment's time, but it's not a big deal. It's a water-based paint, so you just use a bit of a towel, paper towel, and just wipe off the excess. But it's one of those things I found with this type of little mini art and crafting is you can't really go wrong with it, no matter how much color you put in or whatnot. The end result always, for some reason, looks pretty cool. I mean, the entire thing is rough. It's very rough. So, don't be scared of putting too much or too little paint. It's going to look good regardless of which way you go. So as you can see, it kind of went a bit too blue, but it is not a problem at all because we just gotta wipe it off, and we'll do that right now. So here we go. We just wipe it off, and it's you just adjust how much you want to wipe off. One good thing, this actually was also inspired from Mark, Bremen Pipe Smoker. I was watching some of his past videos a couple of nights ago, and he made some really awesome tampers. And the inspiration, or the motivation I should say, actually came from watching Mark's tamper. Obviously it looks nothing like Mark's, but this is pretty good for me, I reckon. And it's something that you can do as a just to relax. So here we're putting on a third color, which is the metallic gold, and this really makes the colors pop. It makes it look really good once it's all dried up. So you're doing the same thing. Let the paints dry, hit it very lightly with your whatever color you want. Again, feel free, color contrast, do whatever you like. But these 3 colors, they look really nice together. I found it's like a very nice pearly, glittery, shimmery type of look. And there you have it. That is it. Your make do DIY pipe tamper and pipe tool. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy this. And yeah, have an awesome week, guys.